Once upon a time, in a lush African forest, there lived a monkey named Gustavo. Gustavo was not like the other animals in the forest who lived in harmony. He was greedy and always wanted more than his fair share of food. While the other animals worked hard to gather what they needed, Gustavo would sneak around, stealing their food when they weren't looking. Every morning, as the animals gathered fruits, nuts, and grains, Gustavo would jump down from the trees, snatching food from anyone he saw. He grabbed ripe mangoes from the birds, bananas from the antelopes, and sweet yams from the squirrels. The animals pleaded with Gustavo to stop, warning him that his actions were unfair. But Gustavo laughed and said, "Why should I work when I can take what I want? I am the cleverest in the forest, and the forest is mine to rule." Though the animals were upset, they felt helpless, as Gustavo was fast and crafty. One day, the animals gathered to discuss how to stop Gustavo's stealing. The wise old Tortoise, who had seen many seasons in the forest, suggested a plan. "We must teach Gustavo a lesson about fairness and respect. We shall set a trap that will show him the dangers of stealing," Tortoise said with a knowing smile. Together, the animals crafted a special treat, a pile of fruits covered in a sticky paste from the sap of a rare tree. They left it in a clearing, knowing Gustavo would not be able to resist. As expected, Gustavo soon spotted the pile of colorful, juicy fruits in the clearing. His eyes gleamed with greed as he said, "More delicious food for me." He rushed over and grabbed a handful of the fruit, only to find that his hands were stuck. Panicked, Gustavo tried to pull himself free, but the sticky sap held tight. The more he struggled, the more entangled he became until he was covered in the sap and unable to move. The other animals, who had been hiding nearby, came out and surrounded Gustavo. "Gustavo," they said, "you have taken from us too many times. Now you know what it feels like to be helpless." For the first time, Gustavo felt truly ashamed. He looked at the animals, who had worked hard for their food, and realized how wrong he had been. "I am sorry," Gustavo said humbly. "I was selfish and took what was not mine. I understand now that stealing only causes pain, not happiness." The animals forgave Gustavo, but they warned him, "If you steal again, the forest itself will turn against you." Gustavo was finally freed, and from that day on, he worked hard to gather his own food. He became a true friend to the animals, helping them gather and share food fairly. And he learned that kindness and honesty brought more joy than any stolen fruit ever could.